I'm not really into making content. I don't really want to be an influencer. People think that's the goal when the reality is you should measure success based on the impact it's having on your business. It doesn't matter what you sell. At the end of the day, you sell trust. That's it. So we need to figure out a way to scale that trust.
When you create quality content, you're automating trust being built.
As my quality got better, people treated me better.
It's the principle of first impression. You're paying to just be taken more serious.
So what we want to do today is break down this 3-step formula. If you do all 3, you will win. I've seen it in my own business. I've seen it in our students and our members, and I've also seen it, the biggest creators use the same process. And so that's what we're going to get into. I think the first part is making. So if you're an entrepreneur or in business, you've probably been told that you need to be posting on social media and you need to build a personal brand online. But here's the thing, most people do this wrong, or they don't really get the full benefit of this. So I'm gonna be real with you guys. I have used my personal brand and content marketing to generate over $15 million for both my businesses over the last few years. And I really wanna break down today, what are the right ways of doing this? What are the real ways that you can monetize and how to just really leverage your brand to explode your income and business. So for today's episode, I brought on my homie, Omar. We're going to be going through this process today. Thanks for joining us today, bro.
Pumped to be here, bro.
Yes. So, I started posting in 2018 and didn't know what I was doing. And so for 2 years, I feel like I just went in a circle trying to figure out what works. It was actually good for me because I kind of learned a lot during that process. But nowadays, I feel like we can give people the blueprint so they can save a lot of time with this process.
Yeah. And because I have found, I've been making videos since 2007, but teaching it since 2018. And I have found that everyone has to go through the season of feeling like, what the heck am I doing?
Yeah.
But, the little incremental, changes you make over time, that's why you look back and you're like, my goodness, I'm so grateful I went through it. But most people give up because I find they either have identified the wrong goals or they just aren't making money.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be talking about what are the goals you should be looking for and how does this actually make you money?
Yeah, there's a formula for doing it correct, and then there's the formula that most people get wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so before we get into the correct way, just really quick, could you break down what do you think people, what's the common person think on how they can monetize? Because somebody will tell me, bro, I'm trying to get that AdSense money.
Right.
I'm like, I didn't even care about that. That's just a chump change.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely first say people think they need viral views. They need millions of views for it to be considered that it's working. That's cool, but when that is your goal, most of the time what may happen is you might get viral for the wrong thing. Yeah. So if you chase virality, then you're going to be known for drinking cranberry on a skateboard like Homeboy. You know, that's his claim to fame.
People think viral views, the platform's going to pay you like AdSense.
Yeah, so Google pays you for uploading on YouTube.
Yeah.
And brand deals and sponsorships are other ways that you can monetize content online.
I even had someone tell me TikTok had a creator fund. I don't know if it's still as lucrative as it used to be, but they were getting decent money, a few $1,000 here and there. And then also partnerships, affiliates.
Yep.
And so these things for me came later on, and they're almost just like the icing on the cake.
Right.
But I feel like there's a lot of creators who think that's the goal. And I think the problem with that is those things require a wide audience, a lot of people, viral views,
volume.
Lots of followers, lots of subscribers, lots of volume. And most people won't get there. So then they think they failed versus if you're in a high margin business, if in my industry, real estate, mortgage, or with coaches and consultants, those are the two industries I'm in. Every client is worth so much to you, every single client. So I feel like if you're in a high margin business where adding just 1 client or 10 clients would be valuable to your business, that is the goal. These other things that people focus on are just the icing, or you don't have to worry about those till you get bigger.
100. And it actually, it makes it more doable when you see it that way. Someone, one of the best Instagram educators, his name is Brock Johnson. And he has this term that's called viral for me, VFM.
Yeah.
And so if you were in one of these professions, if you sell homes, if you have, high ticket clients, or if you sell something that you said is high profit, if you got a video on YouTube, let's say, maybe you got 10,000 views and your call to action was aligned and all these things fell into place. Dude, if you got 10 clients from that 10,000 viewed video, there are some creators that are starving with millions of followers. but it's because of just it is like the mind frame around why you're even creating. I love that Alex said on the last podcast you did with him that like there is a means to your creating. So like, but does it align and does it make sense? Is the invitation you're making sense? And I know that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, and that's the part that I think people mess up is they think like, hey, I'm not really into making content. I don't really want to be an influencer. Some people do, but a lot of people just want to grow their business. And so I tell the masses like, hey, use this as a means to get that authority and get more business, get more clients. And like you said, we have so many examples. I've had this personally where my lowest performing content ended up making me the most money. And I was joke like, hey, last time I went to B of A, bro, you can't deposit your likes, your followers, your subscribers. It's like people think that's the goal when the reality is you should measure success based on the impact it's having on your business.
Yes.
So what we want to do today is break down this 3-step formula. And this has been the formula that has been everything for me. I kind of stumbled onto it over the years, but it's 3 steps. It's content, connection, and then conversion. And I feel like people do 1 or 2 of those, or maybe just one of them.
Jump to the last one.
Or go straight to the conversion, but they haven't done the other 2. So if you do all 3, you will win. Like it's proven. I've seen it in my own business. I've seen it in our students and our members, and I've also seen it. The biggest creators use the same process.
Yep.
They do it, and they do it over and over, and success leaves clues. And so that's what we're going to get into. I think the first part is making better content. And, first, before we get into like what type of content we should be making, the reason I also brought you on was like, bro, like you're known as the GOAT in terms of quality. If you look up any videos on social or on YouTube about setup and studios and podcasts, Omar's probably going to come up. But what should people start with that, or should we get into like the topics and the messaging first? Because I get both questions.
Yeah, no, it's great. So there is do I prioritize the quality of production for my content, or do I prioritize the quality of potency in my content?
Yeah.
The thing is, I see it like if you can get the quality thing dialed, like it should be a short, maybe a couple weeks, like you get your thing dialed. Your setup, just get a good light, get a good mic. Even using your phone will be amazing. Getting better as a communicator is really what's actually going to separate you.
Yeah.
And so when your ability to have, I like to say, better than production value is having content value, and content value is like what are people getting from the stuff you're putting out? Do you blend in with the crowd in your industry, or do you say it in a different way? Do you show it in a different way? Do you talk about it in a different light? That stuff will always separate you, know?
Yeah.
And yeah.
So I feel like it's more important to get the messaging down
100.
And then the quality just is the icing on the cake as well. I will say that as my quality got better, people treated me better. I get more
100.
messages. People ask, it's almost like the thing that they focus on. So it's almost like they take you more seriously if they hear you with this good mic.
Yes.
Or this video looks super sharp. So
I think it's the principle of first impression.
Yeah.
So that like you're paying for somebody to just acknowledge you more than somebody else on a Zoom call. You're paying for somebody to take you a little bit more serious than if you're not wiping the lens on your smartphone.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's what you're paying for. You're paying to just be taken more serious.
Yeah. And I think it's also what that represents for your brand.
Yeah.
So I think about my personal brand. When I do post just a simple thing as an Instagram story about my BTS today, I'm like, well,
BTS, define that.
Yeah, behind the scenes, like, hey, we're shooting this podcast.
People are like, dude, boy band from Korea.
Yeah. So we're shooting this podcast today. I'm going to post a BTS clip, but like that clip is going to look good. And I might pick some good music with it. But even if I'm just shooting something with the phone, just quickly to post on Instagram, it's of a certain quality. And I feel like when you're consistent with that, that becomes part of your brand.
Yes.
And so one of the things that, if you get back to the messaging part, this is really important, is a lot of people put out informational content. So this is the content, like you talk about, you could be putting out education, or you could be putting out entertainment, or you could do edutainment, somewhere in the middle. And so for many of us who are you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you want to put out informational content because you have some expertise that would help people. And then those people would eventually want to work with you. That's the whole game. That informational content is boring sometimes, is what I'm told.
Yeah.
And people think it's too boring. What I've found is just by starting off better, you'll get people to watch it, right? And so it's dumbing it down and then finding the most valuable part of whatever it is that you're teaching and putting that up front in the video.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I was actually working out with my fitness coach yesterday, and he's like, man, should I make videos like this guy? And this guy had like 950,000 followers, and his aesthetic and it was all pretty and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if that's like, that's just at another level. I was like, rather, you should be making content when you're at Costco with your family, because you're trying to reach dads and moms, you know, like this is what you should be buying. And here's what I like to think of it as. This is where like you can actually remove the production stuff. If your content changes human behavior because of something you said. So if you told somebody, hey, go check how much your house is worth, and you can use this. If somebody leaves your post and goes and does a thing, when you influence human behavior, they actually, you plant seeds in people's minds. And this is like the psychology of sales, right?
Yes.
So a lot of the times I found that even just sharing valuable content, and we'll get into connection, but sharing content that will make somebody's life easier, better, faster, it in and of itself is like one great place to start as far as like, what do I even talk about? Does your piece of content change somebody, the way they think about something, something they'll do differently? Maybe they'll go buy something, you know?
Yeah, and it's basically like how you would present it is the variable of success.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got some great information that would impact somebody. Somebody will present it wrong. Somebody else present it a certain way. Their video takes off, reaches the masses. The other one kind of gets stuffed down by the algorithm. So how do you get into that category? What I've found is by showing, not telling. So I believe, and I've seen it in my own content, I've seen it in members, theoretical content is dying.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I just said, you know, here are some ways to save money when you buy a house, and it feels like it's just theory, general shit that you could Google, versus if I said, man, I want to show you how Susan saved $9,613 on this deal.
Yep.
Here's how we structured it. Check this house out. Check out the numbers on this statement. And I found like it's so simple as, like you just talked about this fitness guy, him in the store showing the food versus him sitting at home and being like, when you're at the store, you should be buying this. Make sure to check out the nutrition. If he's there doing it, it works better. And you'll notice that this is really important because the best products in e-com, the ones that go the most viral, the people make the most money, when they do product demos. So you'll notice on TikTok and Instagram, and probably even YouTube, they'll show how they're using the product that makes you want to buy it.
Yes.
I've seen so many times these Chinese weird products, like, you know, you see the ads where they, it's like a faucet thing and it changes the way the faucet is, or it's like a thing you hook on your bed and then you could watch your phone in bed without your hands, like just dumb shit like this. But those products go viral for a reason, is because they're showing the use of the actual thing.
Correct.
And if you were to just tell people, it wouldn't have the same impact. So that's the first piece of advice I would tell everybody who's watching this, is like, when you think about teaching something, how could you actually show it? And if it's something that you can't show because it's numbers based, whatever, simply writing the numbers on a notepad, or on a wall would be excellent. Hey, quick question for you. How much have you been loving these podcast episodes? I've been getting so much great feedback from you guys. And right here is where I would typically put in an ad read for these episodes. But you know what? I was thinking about it. The only thing I really want to promote right now, the only thing I want you to do is just hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow this thing out. And so many of you are watching and listening and sharing, but you're not subscribed to the channel. So whether you're watching or listening, hit the follow button, hit subscribe. And that's going to allow me to grow this thing. Let's get back to the episode.
No, it's really good. That's how I've gotten over 60 million views on videos where I'm recommending products in the videos, but the product helps you achieve something. It helps you get, you know, your Zoom call setup dialed. It helps you have a video podcast set up. But and then brands started seeing that, and that's how I was able to do like 6-figure brand deals, which is crazy. But that was like icing on the cake, you know? So, people still want to learn. I think that's just something like, it's okay. Like, people still want to learn. I know when I was talking to Art, my video person, I'm like, dude, Instagram just serves me like literally the dumbest stuff, like brain numbing stuff. Which even more goes to show, this is a thought I just had, was if you are sharing valuable content that is helping people, you'll actually stand out from like all that noise. You just have to be able to, what we were talking about is essentially package it in a way that's fresh, very you, and
you'll see people that are on there and you're like, Neil, I get what you're saying, but I also see viral videos where someone's just talking. Well, they have that it factor. Maybe they said it in a certain way. I'm not saying that just simply talking to the camera won't work. You can do that too. I do that all the time. But especially for beginners, it takes the pressure off you if you could just show something else.
To show it.
And it's like the same thing you talked about when you're teaching the studio setup. Imagine if you just talked about that in theory. Like it would do nothing.
No, yeah.
People need to see the connection, and then they believe it's real in their head. So that's the first step. The second step is the messaging, like how you speak on camera. And for me, it took a while to get confident. I looked back at the videos that I thought were good. And I actually was at an event. Recently, we had our big event in Vegas. And in one of the videos, the team embarrasses me and they put out, like, here's how bad Neil's videos were 4 years ago. And I'm like, at the time, bro, I thought that was a good video. And I'm looking back now and I'm like, bro, it's hard to watch.
Yeah. Because
I'm like stuttering. I have no confidence on camera. Same dude, same intelligence. I think it's just confidence.
Yeah. No, it's really good. The thing I like to encourage entrepreneurs to do is to think of yourself like a professional athlete. Why are the people who play the sport at the highest level watching back game tape?
Yeah.
Because they want to see what they do when they get in these, predicaments. And then when you become more conscious of how many times you say stutter, and then because you're conscious of it, now you're going to be less likely to do it when the next time you film.
Yeah, and it's almost just like a thing you got to get yourself hyped up for too. I noticed, like you just say, "Hey, I noticed this." I hate how everyone uses fitness analogies, but I just started doing more working out, and I noticed, like, dude, if you get yourself ready for the next set, and you're just like, dude, I'm gonna lock in, I'm gonna do this, and just pump yourself up a little bit, it comes out better. Same thing with the content. Like I noticed I'm gonna speak intentionally.
Yes.
I'm gonna have some energy in this. Like we're not just mailing it in.
It's a performance. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm not being who I'm not.
Yeah.
But I am performing. I do want to be cognizant of what I'm saying. I do want to make sure that I'm clear, concise, that I'm painting pictures and that will. What is sales? Sales is a transfer of emotion. Yeah. And if people can't feel you're excited, they're not going to be excited.
Correct. And so Ed Milet told me this in content strategy like years ago. He's like, bro, you're trying to convince people like of something. That's not the game. The game is for them to believe you believe it. Mm-hmm. So if I believe it and I'm saying this like with confidence, that's all. Like it'll transfer over to them as well.
Yeah.
Like too many people are trying to influence people by just like, dude, you need to do this and you need to do this. Like it comes across as a lecture versus you just authentically believing in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So first part is say it with more confidence.
Yeah.
And then the other part would be pacing and all these other things.
Yeah. But like with confidence, something that I like talking about is this premise of conviction-based content.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like making content about things that you actually have done, accomplished, helped people with, just discovered.
Truth.
Yeah. So one easy way to become a really good communicator is talk about something that's true.
Yeah.
You could hear it in the tone, and then it'll change the way you present because you're excited about it. Yeah. And I feel like if you are inspired about something that you just figured out or have accomplished or have done for somebody else, like make the content, like just shoot it. There's a window of time that is closing in for you to actually sit down or film it on a walk or like get in front of a light and just share it because it's fresh,
It's inspiration is perishable.
Yeah.
So when you can, like, don't let the thing fizzle out, get it shot. And so many times I'll leave a meeting, just got off this call, just got off this meeting and I want to share this, and just say it. And it may not be perfect, but you might nail that first or second take. What's also cool about that is if you want to reshoot it later, but you just want to get the idea into your notes or into your phone, you'll get brought back to the place where you were, like just by seeing it. You can tighten it up later.
Yeah.
So many times I've said it like voice memo style.
Yeah.
But you could hear me on the voice memo with like, dude, you were into this. You're just excited.
Yeah. By the way, the new iPhones have like this new customizable button.
Nice.
And somebody was like, customize it to be the voice memo thing. So like you just hold it down. I don't have to unlock the screen or anything and like hit a voice memo.
Yeah.
And then save it for later.
And so many people ask like, Neil, what should I post? What should I post? Like you should post the things that you get inspired about, like that click with you. Maybe you solved something for a customer. I would say just look at if the truth content is going to perform the best, just look at your calendar and the meetings you've had and the people you've helped recently. And some of you have a lot, some of you may not have that many. You have to go back farther. But look at those things and say like, hey, what problem did that person come to me with and how did I solve it? Or how did I help this customer get into a deal or get that result? those are going to be the pieces of content you can simply share. And as we get later on in this, we're going to talk to you guys how to ring the register and convert at the end. Incidentally, those pieces of content with a call to action at the end are how you get the most sales.
100.
So make conviction-based content. Say it like you mean it. Like if you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, it's probably not going to perform. I see people just checking the box to say they posted the video, to say they made the call. It doesn't work unless you're being intentional. So do that first. And then the next piece is level up your quality so that people can clearly hear you and see you. I wouldn't go crazy with gear right away, but like as you get going, it's definitely something that's helped me a lot. Like people, I always think it's like hypocritical because I'm like, yeah, I just shoot with your phone. Meanwhile, we're shooting this podcast with probably 30 grand worth. Yeah, it's dialed. But the point is like, hey, we didn't start like that.
Right.
You know, I started with hiring somebody else because I didn't have any gear, or I started with figuring out how to use my phone.
Great.
One hack I will give everybody too that I really love is using the back camera of these phones. This is the iPhone. If you don't have an iPhone, I would definitely upgrade to that because of sharing content. Like I still am shocked why so many people refuse to give up their Android device. Like, I mean, I know it's going to piss a few people off because they'll tell me, and I was the only reason I can say this to you guys is because I was you. I literally held on to my Android up until 2 years ago, and I would be the dude fighting back and forth.
I mean, you still use a PC though.
Yeah, but the thing is like, bro, it's so much easier for me to airdrop you a file, you to airdrop me a file.
It makes your life easier.
Yeah, it just makes your life easier. So like, and I just found this, if we're talking about how quality makes you treated better, bro, the green bubble gets you treated worse. You're like a worse class of citizen if you're in the green bubble.
Like,
and like someone's going to be offended. I understand. But the truth is, it's just the facts, bro. Yeah. Don't blame the messenger.
Okay. Yeah. So, Android people level up. Yo, old iPhone people.
Yes.
You're in business.
Yes.
This device will be the unlock to your future. It will allow you to create content quicker, better, faster, great quality.
It's $1,000 or payment plan, bro. Like just go to the freaking AT&T, Verizon, they put it on payments.
When somebody's like, dude, I've been going at it, man. And it's like iPhone X or 10, you know, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So this is a rant, but you know, it's so true. So what I would tell you guys to do is get the phone. This isn't the latest one, but it's like the 14, 15, something like that. But I love shooting to the back camera. Okay. So I love holding this out on the wide angle with good lighting.
And you record it internally to the phone. You don't record using Instagram stories.
Correct. Yeah. So
you don't use the app Instagram to make the videos.
Yes. So you would use the camera app, store it to your phone, and then upload it to the platform, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. There is editors within those platforms where you could do it line by line. And I know that style works really well for people on TikTok. But for me, what's worked the best is just getting it down in one take to the phone, selfie style. And if you are doing it with someone in your office or like at your work, I have somebody else shoot it, but then I'll just use one of these clip-on or handheld mics. So it's still shot on the phone, but because they're more than an arm's length away, I want to make sure people can hear me, so I hold a mic.
Yeah.
That's it. And so that would be your first step, and then getting into it. So now moving on to connection. This is really important. I think people skip over this. Like we're in a relationship business, okay? The more relationships you have, the more people trust you. If more people trust you, they'll work with you. I don't care if you're selling loans, real estate, insurance, freaking coaching. It doesn't matter what you sell. At the end of the day, you sell trust. Yeah. That's it. So we need to figure out a way to scale that trust. So right now, everybody watching this, you have a small circle of people that trust you. These are your past clients, your family, your friends. That circle is what you rely on to get business. It's not enough. So we just need to make that circle really, really big. And so like I'm all for getting cold internet leads and running ads and turning those into warm, whatever. But the biggest bump I saw in business was when I started to get the people who trust me, that circle, make that make it huge. So a lot of people like and trust me. And then now they're referring me and sending me opportunities all the time.
So good. Yeah. And I think that is the opportunity, that when you create quality content, you're automating trust being built.
Yes.
24/7. And like you said, likability also, you know, I personally won't work with somebody I don't like, but you have a framework on like what allows you to show off the things in your life that will increase people's likability of you.
Yeah. And so this is just the things you're into.
Yeah.
So I used to say the 4 F's. Omar made me add one more. So it's food, faith, family, fitness. Omar added fashion. But these are the 5 F's now. Pick one of those things and put it into your personal content. For me, I like posting 75% business educational content, 25% personal content. That 25% has been the unlock for so many conversations, so many connections, because they're getting to know you. So right now somebody's watching this or listening and they're like, dude, I'm the biggest Las Vegas Raiders fan. Bro, if you simply would wear the jersey in some of your content, if you would simply talk about going to the game on Sunday and how much you love the team since they were in Oakland and they moved to Vegas, whatever that story is for you, if people knew that about you, that would be literally the reason why they're going to give you more attention when you do educational content. And they're going to think of you and remember you. We don't necessarily remember everything we were taught, but like we remember the people we rock with that we just connect with. And so I feel like the connection piece is missing for so many creators. And that's literally why when they make an offer on social, they don't get the response that they should.
Yeah, no, it's true. I'll quick case study, when it comes to fitness or sports or whatever, like one could say posting that I like golf. When I'm on the golf, I post that I golf, right? I'm in a mastermind with a guy that I like absolutely love, and I paid him a lot of money to be a part of it. And this dude went on vacation, called me and said, hey, would you like to fly out, meet me on vacation, and let's go golf for a couple of days?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't post myself golfing. I don't get that opportunity to golf with him.
Yeah.
And then the family part, like everybody loves Ruby. She's like my little 5-year-old daughter. And I even like it because it also influences, like I also, like you say, making an impact. Like I want people to know that I am a businessman, but I'm also a great father and husband, and showing how much I love my kids. Dude, I'm not trying to manipulate people. I'm just being me.
Yeah. We're not saying exploit your children.
Right. No.
But like, I'm saying like, if somebody's doesn't want to show that because it's private. I know people like don't want to put their daughter on social. That's cool. You don't have to. Like for me, I won't make a feed post to my daughter, but I'll put it in my stories, whatever. Maybe it's like not the safest thing always, but at the same time, I view the benefits outweigh the negative part. So you have to make that decision. How much of your personal life you're going to show. But I'll tell you this, the more of that you're comfortable showing, the more connections you're going to have. So I think of these as fishing lines off of a boat. You imagine your boat in the middle of a lake, you got a fishing line. You share one thing, that's one line out. You share more. For me, like the whole thing is surrounded in all these lines. It's just, I'm just surrounded by freaking fishing lines. That means that things are just hitting constantly. The more things I'm comfortable sharing. And so the beginning is a process. Like, dude, I feel weird about sharing this. It's kind of like, what are people going to think? By the way, if you have the feeling like, should I post this? I feel like it's cringe. I feel like that's literally a sign that you should.
Great.
Because on the other side of that is a connection or an opportunity that you didn't think was possible. And like even Omar might be thinking, well, if I post the golf on this day, other people are working during this day. I'm at an expensive golf course. What are they going to say?
Like when my hair's not fixed, bro.
Yeah.
Like people see me with my hair all curly when I go post myself at the gym. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's harder for the women for sure. But like you don't even have to be in the video sometimes. It could just be what's in front of you.
Great.
Sometimes you're in it, sometimes you're not. So I'll give a couple other examples. Like you're sharing what you did today at the office, what you worked on. That's kind of behind the scenes for work.
And you're talking, this is in the context of Instagram stories.
Correct. Yeah. There's other opportunities to make feed posts with this. And this could also be like a vlog on YouTube eventually, if you wanted to. I wouldn't really suggest that because it's a lot of effort for little result.
Sure.
But like the day-to-day stuff, if something cool happened personal-wise, you can make a feed post about it and not just post it in stories. So stories is where I would post a lot of the behind the scenes, things that are going on with you personally. Like Omar just said, like if you're a good father, if you're a good coach, if you're a good spouse, talking about these things, even when it's a little uncomfortable, will open up the door for you. And then the last piece I'll say on this is if there's anything that's a vulnerable moment for you, like vulnerability is the biggest strength, because when I've talked about things that I've struggled with personally, when I've talked about health issues, when I've talked about like mental health issues, anything like that you've gone through, I know it's a little uncomfortable for people, but there's so many other people who are struggling with the same thing. And that creates a bond with you and the others who are like you, and they'll never forget that. Like it's the craziest thing. Like I have people who they won't remember the 100 things I taught on social, but they'll remember that one post I made about how I have ADD and I struggle with it in school. and now I'm not, like how I got over it, whatever. So if you've got to overcome adversity, I would really implore you to share it, not just for yourself, but to serve others, because it inspires other people.
Yeah, no, it's so good. All this stuff is just things that were really hard to do back in the day.
Yeah.
There's an OG real estate agent that was here in town that we connected with. And he was like, dude, I just remember I would spend 8 a.m. till 1 p.m. just calls. And he's like, yeah, I literally saw it in front of my face, in front of my eyes, that the new cold call sales is put that energy toward the content because it's well more worth your time. Yeah. And like, we're in a time where you not only are marketing your business, reaching out to people, but you're also building a brand.
Yeah.
Which, maybe back in the day, I would wonder, like, how did real estate agents build their brands? Maybe it like wasn't as important because you were really trying to go crazy on relationship.
Yeah. But this is the gas on the fire.
It's the gas on the fire. Yeah.
It's how you do it, man. So you think about, how people can scale the amount of relationships, trust, all these things. This is how you do it. And I think one thing that we've all been taught growing up and just being in business, as we get more deep in this conversation, it's come to me like, this is the problem with so many people, is you're spending your time on things that just don't work as well anymore. Mm-hmm. So like, you ever wonder why when you call 1,000 people, most of them ghost you? Because cold calling is very difficult. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but like, wouldn't it be better to figure out a way to do lukewarm calling? Mm-hmm. Like, wouldn't it be cool to make an offer to 1,000 people, get them on a call or Zoom or webinar, and then find out the 16 people who want to work with you? That to me would be more efficient, and then warm up the other people in the process. Like, there's so many things that we're doing that are just terribly inefficient.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've always been told is the way. Mm-hmm. We're just like, and you start spinning your wheels. And that's the part that got me into this game altogether, was like, dude, I don't want to do the things the same old way. There's some things that are tried and true that'll always be true, but there's also a better way. And this is it. Like, this is the game. So think about that. Like, what are the new things you're doing? Because as we get into like how you get better with content, it's you look at the stuff and figure out how to get better at it. Mm-hmm. Bro, there's so many people who reach out to you and me all the time, and they're like, hey man, I made 1,000 videos, I haven't got anything. And it's like, did you ever think at like number 613, why isn't this working? Like, let's look at it. How could we make it better? Like, that's the thing. Like, if everyone's ghosting you, and this is same with video, if everyone's ghosting your videos, maybe we need to change the messaging. Maybe we need to change the way we start. So I think like a big thing about, as we get through this whole process, is looking at feedback.
So good.
How could you make that video better?
Yeah, I will highlight that a lot of my content creation journey has been done in a context of community. Like, even if it's just 3 to 5 people where you guys are accountability to each other, but you giving each other people help. Like, if you are creating content in isolation and you pride yourself in the amount of uploads you've done in the last 2 years, like, you could have wasted all that time. But this is why I love showing other people content. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? I'm watching their reaction while they watch this, like in any content. And sometimes like your video person or somebody else, hey, what do you think about this piece of content? How would you make it better? It just having those moments of like, humble yourself and actually seek the feedback. You're going to get better quicker. You're going to crank up that learning curve. And it'll just be more proficient.
Yeah, it's like ask for feedback, especially like how you could get better. Mm-hmm. So it's not helpful to be like, hey, how was the video? Oh, it's great. Good job, honey. Like, you want it to be like, dude, tell me how I can make this better. Mm-hmm. I'm good with the good feedback for now. Like,
what would Phil Jones ask?
Yeah. Like what could we do to make this better? Give me the feedback that where did I lose you? Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Like, I'll ask my daughter or my wife, where do I lose you in this video? So now they're like looking at it with that lens. Well, actually, when you said this word, I didn't understand that, and now I'm lost for the rest of the video. I probably would have scrolled. Okay, cool. I could simplify that. The reason I bring this up is like, I was saying the word inadvertently. Apparently, a lot of people don't understand inadvertently. So like, I just switched to like by mistake. So you guys are making this mistake inadvertently? No. You guys are making this mistake and you don't even know it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, change the way, dumbing it down. So the messaging is important, watching how you could say things better. And it doesn't make you dumb to say it in a more easy to understand.
Oh man.
Yeah, you're not dumbing yourself down. You're actually making your information more accessible.
So good. Another one of those, like, I used to think like stealing people's quotes made me sound smarter. No, you actually sound smarter when you give the person the credit.
Yeah.
It shows that you like study and you research and you do things, you know?
So this is like, what would we say? These are like the things that people don't think of. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find the easiest way to say it because I would say it different.
Yeah.
But it's like, these are the things that you're not thinking of. I was going to say counterintuitive, but it's basically like different than what you've been taught. So now we get into conversion, right? This is the most important part. This is where you make all the money. You get the Lambos, you get the freaking whatever you want, whatever your goals are financially. I feel like people skip to this part first.
Yeah.
And that's why
can you talk a little bit more, like just before we get into like the handles of what are the biggest mistakes people assume when it comes to like making money with your social media presence?
Yeah, I think they think that, first of all, they think the wrong way of monetizing. So this is the best way is to just get more business. Like that's your number one thing. It's the accelerant to what you're doing now. So you already need to have an offer. Like you need to have something, and you can come up with more offers later. Like I didn't think I would get into the education business or events or anything. These opportunities came later, but in the beginning I had a goal just to get more clients.
Yep.
That's it. It's very simple. Like I feel like people have all these different things. So getting focused on that would be important. But the biggest problems I see are like people make sales content on social. It's not a platform to sell people. Like nobody came to social media to be sold anything today. Like they came to learn about it. That's why you see even the stuff that does the most sales, the video is viral. It's a product demonstration video that goes viral.
Right.
They end up getting the sales. So I think sales content from an individual is really, it's just like a dead end. You'll get something from it, but it's not going to perform like you thought.
Good. It's a real sign of like an elementary start of creating, or like, you know, if you're an entrepreneur and you're just starting to create, I find that most of the time you just resort to like, I'm doing this thing, I'm selling this thing, you can have me do this thing, let me call me. There was a makeup artist that came to the studio and like, it was hard. It was actually, she was having a hard time trying to give value because she was just trying to make the sale.
Yeah. It's like, you go to infomercial mode.
Yeah.
It's like, are you having trouble buying a house today? Well, let me see how we help you. And they put on a totally different voice. They're not being themselves. And so the best content that would get you conversions, you have to be authentic. You have to make I think about this, even the best ads. If you talk to people who have ads that have scaled and they've made tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars off their ad, they didn't focus on that. They focused on making a good piece of content. It just so happened that it had a call to action in it. So the first step, even when you're making a sales thing, is make a good video. Like we still need to provide value even in the conversion process.
Yeah.
So that would be the biggest misconception is there's no value before the ask. So people think about this as a general concept. I need to post informational content, then I can ask. Even within the ask, you need to have value before the ask.
Yes.
That's the most important thing you could do. If you just remember that, you'll do better. You'll make money from this episode. But beyond that, what should you do and what type of calls to action? Like this is what I've found is where people mess up. They make it, first of all, they don't focus on the content. You make a better piece of content, but now you're ready to ask. People are asking for the end result. So I think about the customer here, we are here, and this is where we get paid. They're asking them to make this entire journey right now with one single piece of content. It does happen because someone was ready through their own means. They've been watching things on the internet. Your video caught them at the right place, right time. Luck, boom, they make the whole journey on their own.
Yeah.
But what's more common, and this is like the masses, this is where the biggest opportunity is they need to be brought over to the end.
The difference is in creating something predictable.
Correct. So the best marketers in the world are not looking for a sale, they're looking for the signal. The signal is in the middle. Just raise your hand if you'd like to learn more. Now I can get you into my funnel. I can follow up and move you to the end. And what happens is everybody's got their guard up when it comes to sales content. Nobody wants to be sold, but they love to buy things. But like, if you can just give them something, now it's the give that you're giving them something. It's not even an ask anymore.
Yeah.
So this is how this works practically. What is a resource that you could give to your potential client? Like think about in the real estate example, are there opportunities in the market? Yes. What resource could you give them that's very simple? So not only a resource, but it needs to be simple. So the things I love to give away that seem to get the most conversions are checklists, guides, cheat sheets, anything that sounds simple. So instead of saying, your video, call to action, call me, hit the link in my bio to book an appointment. That's asking for too much.
Yeah.
Like we need to just give them something first. And then if you give them something first, now you can ask after that. So I found like when I figured this part out, it changed the freaking game for me. Because I was getting just very little conversion.
Yep.
And I would see all these people and then I would ask for sales and I'll be like, why didn't anybody hit me up? It was just so low conversion wise. So if you ask for this thing in the middle, you'll see so many people reach out to you because they just want the thing. Now, those are cold internet leads. They're not like going to move on their own. But the cool thing is they might be 6 months away, but now they're in your funnel.
Yeah.
They're on your email list. They're aware of you. They're watching your other videos. You've given them some value. So now you have some equity with them. And then you can move them over at the end.
Yeah. So, no, it's really good. I think what you're trying to do is you are trying to deepen trust.
Yeah.
So like, showing up consistently online, giving good value, like it builds trust. But when you do something like either you give them a resource that makes their life better, faster, quicker, whatever, or you put them through what you like to do, like web classes or webinars and stuff, it's deepening the trust that they got from online. And like seeing you not edited, seeing you take a question and be able to like kill it. Like, oh dang, there's no question this person couldn't ask. Then it's like their trust deepens. And that's why, I mean, that's when it becomes easy to give a person money. Cause that's like, that's the resistance. Yeah. Should I give this person, like, should I really work with this person? Like I do trust them. They do make great content, but it's like, oh dang, they really are out to help people. Oh my goodness. Even if I don't give them money, I got so much. And then it's just like, you really made it. Like, I like Daniel Priestley, who makes a phenomenal book, writes Key Person of Influence, great book, and Oversubscribe, 2 great books around this concept we've been talking about. But he says like, make the sale behind the curtain.
Yes.
And what does that mean? That means you don't make the sell in the comment section. Like DM conversations are even behind the curtain, going back and forth, having a conversation. The conversation leads to a conversion, and or like an event. You do an event for I actually do 5-day challenges, and I found that it really expedites my expert in some people's eyes. They're like, I knew this guy was like pretty good, but like I didn't know he was like the guy.
Yeah.
And that's all that does.
And you're building the trust over the 5 days.
That's over the 5 days. And there's that 7-hour rule, right? Like if people can clock 7 hours with you, like if they don't buy from you after doing 7 hours with you, they either just aren't your person, or they're not your type of client, or I don't know, or they spent 7 hours quicker with somebody else,
For sure. And you can do, like, I'm not saying you can never do just a quick sale content like, hey, you know what, I'm looking to bring on this many clients, or I'm looking to help. If you need help with this, hit me up and put a link. You could do that stuff and people will reach out to you. But I think like if that's the only play you run, it'll get played out. People will tune you out if you're just too salesy. So I do run those plays every once in a while where it's just like a link and you buy.
Yeah.
It does work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like it doesn't work as well as when I ask people, hey, if you're interested in learning about this, come to this thing.
Yeah.
On the thing, I educate you for another hour. Right. And then at the end, there's an opportunity to work with us.
I think you taught me this best. It was, deposits and withdrawals.
Yeah.
So what's funny is like when you make that ask, like, hey, I'm looking to work with this many people, or I'm looking to onboard, whatever, you're withdrawing. But you say, hey, I'm doing this teaching, and it's gonna be a free 1 hour. I'm gonna go through this, and this. That you're actually depositing by taking a withdrawal. But it's
so the best type of ask is when your ask is actually a give. The thing that you're offering would help someone either way. So even if it's a call to see if we should work together, that is a strategy call where you're going to leave the call with more information. You're going to have some clarity on your goals. You might have learned a few things in 15 minutes. So that's a piece of value. You're giving your time to pour into somebody else. Now, whether or not they work with you is the next step, but you're giving value first. So I feel like, people jump the gun straight to the end, but just make sure that whatever you're offering there is actually going to help someone. You're coming from a place of service. I found that like when we do our best conversion pieces, it's like whatever that thing is, it needs to be truly valuable, but you shouldn't overthink it. So if it's a guide checklist thing, someone's like, well, I don't have the time to make all that. Literally, you could just make a Word document or Google Doc and save it as a PDF. Like don't overthink the thing. Yes, you can make a better version of it later. You can do your first.
But it doesn't have to be pretty if it's practical.
Correct. As long as the information is good.
Yeah.
So just compiling information is valuable because what are you doing? You're saving people time.
Yep.
You're giving them their time back. And people love mistake avoidance. So if that's how you do this. So the piece of content that would work the best before you make this ask is, again, proof content. So I love showing a real example and then doing the thing. So I'll give you guys an example of this. Like I would say, hey guys, check this out. We just had this client and they were able to save $9,000 when they bought their property. The way we did this was through asking the seller for a credit. Check out this. They were going to offer this, but we ended up not offering this and offering this. And I showed the numbers on a screen or on a notepad or a whiteboard. And then they ended up getting the deal. And this is, by the way, this is just one of 5 things that I love using to get my clients the best deal in today's market. I actually put together a quick guide on this that'll tell you my 5 best ways to get a deal in today's market. If you want to grab that guide, just comment the word home below and I'll shoot it over to you.
So good.
So start with the thing that really, really happened.
Yep.
And be specific as possible. And I know you can't release customer information. Sometimes it's confidential. Don't say the name.
Yeah.
Just say, we'll call her Susan, whatever you have to say, but show some real numbers and then, or show the real house or whatever it is. And then now, hey, by the way, if it's a goal of yours to do this as well, I actually have a checklist for you. I actually have a guide that'll save you a lot of time. By the way, the things in this guide will save you a minimum of $2,000, literally minimum. Some people save 20K, but you'll save 2K by just getting this guide. If you want to grab it, click the link. If you want to grab it, comment below. And so that's exactly how I would say it. And this CTA, by the way, has generated me the most business.
So good.
And like you gave me an example. One time, separate coaches and consultants, right? I was saying like, dude, I got stumped. I was like, Omar, what do I post today to get people to come to our workshop? He's like, just who had success recently? I'm like, oh, this chick just texted me that she got an 84 unit development because of her personal brand. He's like, that's the video, bro. So then I literally go, guys, check this out. I just got this text from one of our members. She just landed this huge deal because of what we teach in our group. And this is the thing that fires me up about what we teach because it's getting people real results. If you want to learn, and then you make the ask there, but you're showing proof first before you ask.
Dude, I love it. And this is why I love it. I love it because everyone has different proof. So like when you start making content around the stuff that you are doing, you actually remove yourself from competition, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Like who's going to make the same exact piece of content as you? No one.
They can't.
It's
can't. Yours.
It's yours. And even if they wanted to, they'd be lying and it wouldn't come off the same way, you know?
And the conviction you have, going back to what you said earlier, you're like anybody who's really good at this, they're doing it for the right reason. Bro, nothing gets me more fired up than when one of our clients, one of our members, one of our students gets success.
Yep.
It's almost as fulfilling as me getting the win.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes it's more fulfilling because people say it's life-changing, right? So now that's coming through in the confidence, it's coming through and people can just tell. I think what happened over the last few years with so much content consumption is I don't think it's that people have the attention span of a goldfish and they're scrolling, they have no attention, because you'll see people watch long form.
Yeah.
They'll have no attention for nothing. And then all of a sudden they'll spend 60 minutes with somebody. So I feel like they're just really good at being selective.
Yes.
So they'll burn through, like if you ever watch a young person scroll, they'll scroll so fast, but when they stop, they'll watch that thing. Why did they watch that thing? Well, something's there. There's the it factor. Maybe they felt it was connection, all that shit. So you can really hack consumer attention by just being real.
So good.
And you need to do this in your conversions as well.
Yes. Yeah, be you times 2. And it does take time to figure out like what kind of content you like to make. Because I know people that like, dude, I love sitting down on Mondays and just hammering like one sit down thing. Like, cool. If that's what works for you, amazing. Try that for a season. Or like other people are like, I don't know if I even like have the time. Like, all right, get really good at doing it in your car, on your way to the car, when you're at your desk. And if you are maybe even a little more long-winded type of, educator or something, maybe you got slide decks. Just, record your slide deck presentations and throw them up on YouTube. Many ways to win. Yeah. Especially when people help others, like when you're service-based, businesses, like all people need to do is to be educated about the thing you know about. Like if I know that you know what you're talking about, it kind of gets a lot more easy to do business with you.
Yeah. And I've seen people insert this frame. I've yet to do it as often, but I've seen a lot of people have success with this frame in their content. The frame is like the lens which you view the content. It's the setting the table before you get to the actual thing. And so they will say in the beginning of the video, they say, guys, I want to show you this. And they show you something and say, by the way, my name is Neil and I've helped 273 clients get into homes this year with less money out of pocket. All right, cool. That's my claim. And they know that I know, it's almost just like letting people know, why should I listen to this person? You can say that in the beginning of your videos, And I've seen people do this where they insert that in every single video. So like every long form video, every short form video, not the first line out of your mouth, but like somewhere in the beginning, by the way, my name is Neil and I do XYZ and I've helped this many people.
Yep.
And then you move back to your content. And then people are like, dude, okay, he knows what he's talking about.
So good.
So like in the beginning of this, I told you guys, I've used this exact 3-step process to generate millions of dollars. That's the truth, right? If I hadn't framed it up that way, maybe you wouldn't have watched this. Maybe you wouldn't even be here at this part of the video, right? It's because you're listening to me with some authority. So if you've been blessed enough to like get success for people, make sure you talk about that.
Good.
I feel like people don't want to talk about it because they feel like it's showing off.
Dude, I'll be straight up. Like I think for a while, I think number one, because I deflect, I don't like the attention.
Yeah.
So even when people like,
or you might have felt it showing off.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, right. So
like bragging.
It's been a journey sharing like, even money wins. I don't know, like out there, you know. But the thing that I had a friend, her name's Heather. She was just like, Omar, the reason why you need to show the people you're helping and their wins that they're telling you you've helped them get is because not everyone looks like you. So when somebody sees this girl that you helped win and they see somebody like, oh, she looks like me and she got a win. Well, if he's helping people that look like that, then I'm going to work with him or vice versa, right? Like people need to see people that look like them win. And when you share other people's wins that you've helped, you know, facilitate, you're giving people the opportunity to feel empowered to know like, oh, I can win too.
Yeah.
Like, I can own a home too. I didn't even know I would qualify. Oh, that person is a first-time home buyer and they're only 25 years old. Like that's what you're doing. So here's the reframe of that. If you're not sharing wins, you're actually robbing people from feeling empowered to go forward in life.
And just remember this, like, you know, if you truly help other people, like you said, if there are people that have been positively impacted by your work, no matter what industry it is, even like somebody's watching this, a freaking CPA, dude, you save the people on taxes. That's huge. Mm-hmm. What could you do with that money? Or you save them time, whatever. It doesn't matter. If they've been positively impacted and you're not telling more people about it, you're the one who's being selfish. I used to think it's selfish to make sales content or to push my service. But if I don't do it, they don't get the results. They end up getting ripped off by a competitor who doesn't care as much as I do.
Boom.
The product isn't as good. The service isn't as good. How many of you guys think you're better than your competition? Well, it doesn't matter if you didn't market yourself, right? Like it's your fault that they went with the competitor because they didn't even know you existed. So make sure you're not being selfish and you're putting out more of this stuff. Remember, content make better content, right? Connection. You're so much more than what you do for a living. Just remember that. And then conversion, proof over promise. Make sure you show proof when you're converting. If you do these 3 things and you get really good at it, you'll never have to worry about money ever again. That's it, bro. Mic drop.
That's the hook.
We'll see you guys on the next one.